Hello and welcome to another in the Ask the Data Governance Coach video series. And today's question one is an interesting one. It is, should we validate our data context across our different departments? Now, somebody emailed this into me, and to begin with, I thought, well, that's the wrong question. And then I realized, of course, there is no such thing as a wrong question when it comes to data governance. If you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer, and that makes it a valid question. But I think the question and plus the context that the person gave in the email, they were saying, would it be sensible for our data owners to consult each other to ensure a single understanding about our data attributes? And the easy answer to that is yes, absolutely. But I think we need to dig a little deeper, because I don't think that perhaps the person who sent this in was perhaps allocating their data owners in the right way. Bearing in mind, I did just say allocate, and I usually say don't say that. We need to identify and engage them. So generally, when I am talking about finding data owners in your organization, I have a very strong belief that data can only be owned by one person. Now, this means if data is used across multiple departments in your organization, this can be quite challenging to do. But if you do it, the whole question that this video is about goes away, because we have one data owner who is responsible for agreeing what that definition is for that data. Now, this can be challenging because we can't let just one person arbitrarily say this is what the data means and ignore everybody else's requirements when it comes to it. But this is where you, as a data governance manager or data governance analyst, will be helping them identify who else uses that data and get these people involved in a discussion to agree a definition. And it's usually during conversations like this that you find out that actually it isn't one definition. Perhaps there's multiple definitions. So I did some training for a hospital a little while ago, and I was talking to them about things that perhaps they have trouble counting. And I was laughing and saying, I assume that's not patients. You can count how many patients are in your hospital at any one time. And they said, actually, one of the biggest things that they have all sorts of problems with is beds. And I went, beds? Well, you can go around and count them. And they said, yes, but do we mean beds that patients are in and currently using? Do we mean beds that are spare in a corridor somewhere? Or do we mean beds that are in the loading bay waiting to be repaired? And it creates all sorts of problems, and they waste loads of time having discussions. And this I have seen time and time again over different types of data, depending on the organization. And I think this is why, absolutely, we must validate our data across departments, but we mustn't have more than one data owner. And it's by having that one data owner that we can do that coordination and start unearthing this, perhaps need for why this particular hospital may need more than one definition for beds. And then we can all be clear when we ask how many beds we mean. Do we mean how many physical beds does our hospital own? Or do I mean how many beds currently are in use with patients in them? So in that instance, it's clear that there's need for more than one definition of what a hospital bed is. So I think you need to find your own examples, and then you suddenly start understanding we can't have multiple definitions of the same thing that is shared, but we can have multiple definitions if we need them. And that is why we need separate data owners who can advocate for why their definition is needed. And then we work out how we do that. Is that by way of a report? Is it a different field in a system? So absolutely, we must validate our data across departments. That's kind of the whole point of data governance. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, please help me on my mission to help as many people as possible be successful with data governance by liking, commenting, subscribing. I really appreciate your help in getting this message out there. So many people tell me how vulnerable and overwhelmed they feel when they were just doing data governance. And I was exactly the same. And there wasn't anything on the internet, which is why I do this now. I do hope you're finding it useful. And if you've got a question you'd like me to cover in a future video, just email it into questions@nicolaascombe.com.